Today I'm going to show you how to thread rigid conduit. I'm going to show you how to use a tri-stand, a hand threader, and a reamer, pipe reamer. Today we're going to be cutting 3/4 inch rigid conduit and we're going to thread it. As an electrician, you're always going to have to be more diversified in what we do as an electrician. Because as an electrician, we don't put just plugs and switches in. We actually thread conduit, bend conduit, do things. And if you watch my other videos, I'm sure there's a link to the playlist somewhere here. We actually do a wide variety of things. You know, we're not just limited. So, you know, to not become, and I always tell everybody, don't become a one-dimensional electrician, meaning you're really good at one thing. You know, you need to be good at everything, okay? From bending pipe to threading pipe to, you know, being able to lay out a pipe rack or a switchgear, you know, a whole variety of things. So, you know, that's part of what this channel is all about, and that is one thing that I hope you, my subscribers, are actually watching and enjoying this type of work, because, you know, if it inspires you to become an electrician, great. If you want to do it just to, you know, work on your own home, that's great too. So some of the things may or may not apply. We just have to kind of narrow them in. So today, I want to talk about threading rigid conduit. So what we're going to do is I'm actually going to put the camera on the conduit, and I'm just going to talk to you about different things. I know you guys will miss me, but that'll be okay. I think you'll be fine today. Okay, so there's a couple things you're going to need in order to thread conduit. You're going to need an oiler with a pump. Okay, that just makes life that much easier. You can thread with a squirt bottle. You can use a special spray, but to be quite honest with you, this is actually the easiest thing. If you're working on a commercial construction site, this is the type of oiler you're going to use. You're going to want to make sure you put plywood down or some type of substance to cover any excess oil that could fall off. We'll show you the shavings in a minute. You want to make sure you're set up. You have your hand threader. This is a die that comes out, okay, goes into the hand threader, and I'll show you how this operates in a minute. And you're going to have your pipe reamer, okay, and I'll show you how to use that at the end. Okay, so we're going to take this conduit, we have it cut off, it's cut to length, now I have to put threads on it, okay? The code book tells us that we have to have at least 5 usable threads to make a solid connection. Well, you know what? We're going to go a little bit more than 5 threads because we want to make sure that if we have to make this tight, we can. Okay? I always like to go a good 3/4 of an inch to an inch. And when we go through the hand bender, you'll see that I like to thread right to this being flush. Okay, so when the pipe comes out flush here, then we have enough threads. This is a chain vise, a round chain vise. This is actually a smaller one. They make larger ones. If you're in the market for one, that's great. I would always recommend the larger one anyway, but this is going to work great for our demonstration today. Chain vise, set your pipe in play, put it up, give it a little bit of a crank. Make it nice and tight because you don't want it to spin. Now that I have the conduit set, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that I'm going in the right direction, okay? Being a right-handed person, being on the right side of the tri-stand, I want to make sure that I'm pulling it to me. I don't want to be pushing up and over. That's how I'm going to reverse it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get it set. I'm going to take the oiler. I'm going to put a little oil on the conduit. Now, some people do it this way, some people don't. Remember, this is the way I do things. When I take the threader, okay, I'm going to take it and I'm going to put my hand on the end of it and I'm going to push it onto the conduit, okay? So I'm going to take it like so, and I'm going to push it onto the conduit. What I'm going to do is I'm going to apply pressure here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to apply pressure here, and I'm going to ratchet it. And I'm going to put it all the way around to get a good bite into the metal. Okay, I got a good bite into the metal right now. Always make sure you got a good rag. Sometimes you may have to wipe it down a little bit. You know, it's oil, it's going to be all over the place. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take the oiler out and I'm going to squirt it in the little hole here. What's going to happen is I'm going to turn it a couple turns and then I'm going to keep putting oil on it. As you can see, there's filings in there. Okay, we want to make sure that we're oiling them so that they don't get binded up and ruin our threads. Stripped a little bit, I'm going to put some oil on it. Once I get towards the end, I want to make sure that every crank gets oil on it, because as you start getting to the end, you're taking more meat off the conduit. So the more cutting oil you have, the better. Okay. All right, just so you know, you always want to make sure you have a rag with you, but at the same time, you always want to remember that once you get those threads all the way out, the threads are sharp and they're going to cut you. I don't wear gloves. I don't typically wear gloves. I even live in New England and I don't really wear gloves that often, even when it's bitterly cold, because I have to feel what I'm working with. So, you know, in this situation here, could you wear gloves? Absolutely. And do I recommend you wear gloves? Sure I do. But there's just those people, and I'm one of them, that can't have anything, that they've got to feel what they're working with, okay? Again, I'm a hands-on learner, so I have to be able to touch this stuff to stay on top of it. So now what we're going to do, now that we're at the end, now what we're going to do is we're going to reverse it. Let me show you how to do that. Okay, so on the threader, we were threading it clockwise. The arrow is in the down position. Now, in order to loop, you're going to put pressure on the handle. You're going to pull it up. You're going to flip it over. And then as soon as you flip it over to go in the other position, it's going to want to slip. All you're going to do now is you're going to push it back the other way. Now, what I like to do is I like to make sure that I put oil on at least twice so that I can loosen this up and not ruin my threads. Okay, again, it's a lubrication to cut the conduit and make threads, and it's also lubrication to help keep these filings off of my threads and ruining my threads. I don't recommend you do what I just did. I'm just doing it so you can see it better. Okay, at this point right now, it's a little tight. You're going to get to a point where it's going to be nice and easy and you'll be able to spin it by hand, like right now. So now I can pop it off and I can spin it by hand and take the die right off, okay? Okay. When you're done, you take your rag, clean it off, and make sure you get your filings out, okay? Okay, now at this point I'm going to show you how to use the reamer. The reamer is sharp, it's cone shaped, so it can fit in multiple size different conduits. What we're going to do is we're going to take the burr out of this. So what we're going to do is we're going to hold the handle, we're going to slide it in, and what we're going to do is, it's a ratchet also, so all you're going to do is put pressure on it and just keep cranking. I do it about 5 or 6 times. Gives me a good burr. I stick my finger in there. Feels good. I don't have to worry about wire getting cut on my conduit, so I know I'm good. Understanding how to thread rigid conduit is very important to an electrician. Is it important to an average homeowner? Absolutely not. Is it important to an apprentice? Yes. Why? Because if an apprentice knows how to thread conduit, that's going to give them one more feather in their cap that most apprentices don't have. I'll be quite honest with you, there's a lot of people that are out there that the harder they, the more time that they put into the field, the more they learn. Well, if you can learn this stuff as an apprentice, it's only gonna make you get better. With that being said, again, I hope this helped. If you liked it, give me a thumbs up. If you haven't already subscribed, please subscribe to my channel. As always, have a great day and be safe.